Hello there. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm Colleen Klimczak. I'm an organizational and productivity coach and a certified professional organizer. I own Peace of Mind Professional Organizing, LLC. Since 2003, I've been helping my clients live better lives through organizing and organizational and productivity coaching. I support my clients and my community with coaching, in-person and virtual organizing, my weekly podcast called Your Organized Life with Colleen Klimczak, a free weekly virtual productivity session called Finish Line Friday, a free weekly email newsletter, and regular content on Facebook and Instagram. I also offer presentations and professional development to groups and companies. And coming this year, I will be launching a membership circle to support my community with even more coaching and productivity content. Want to finish strong this week? Join me for Finish Line Friday every Friday morning at 9 a.m. Central for a 2-hour productivity session. Drop me an email at colleen@peaceofmindpo.com to request my Zoom room link or follow the Zoom room link on my Instagram or Facebook pages. Welcome to Your Organized Life, episode 162. Happy New Year, by the way. So this week's topic is goals, why goal setting works, and resolutions usually don't. So here we go. I have been thinking a lot about goal setting these last few weeks. I mean, of course I have. As in, yes, I am offering 2 presentations in the next 7 days on the topic of goal setting. And I've been updating my content to keep it fresh for those audiences, but also because this is the time of year for resolutions or not. And more importantly, I've been thinking about goal setting because I like to set goals personally and professionally for the new month, new quarter, and new year. Please note, I am separating goal setting from resolutions, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm a fan of New Year's resolutions, of course, but New Year's resolutions and goal setting are completely different activities. And good goal setting, good meaning goal setting with structure and supports, will help you succeed far more readily than resolutions any day. Goal setting is for any day. It's for every day, really. A few more words on resolutions and why goal setting should go along with yours or even replace them. Unfortunately, our New Year's resolutions, along with good intentions, often fail. The statistic that I found yesterday with a quick Google search is that only 9% of resolutions will actually stick. And last year, in 2025, I learned that the second Friday of the new year is called Quitter's Day. And I thought that sounded terrible. But again, a lot of resolutions fail. Sometimes resolutions fail because we look to others when we set our resolutions. We look around and we see someone else achieving something that we want. And we say, hey, I want to do that too. So we see the results of others without considering what went into those results. Or maybe they fail because someone, like our culture or media, suggests our resolutions without asking us what we want to do. Resolutions become shoulds, and we lose sight of the why. We punish ourselves with resolutions instead of signing up for goals that love us back. Or we make resolutions with no support in place to actually succeed, and then we lose heart when we inevitably get off track. Or resolutions fail because they're not specific enough, and they're often too large or sweeping, and then we lose momentum when we don't see immediate results. We forget that new habits take time and energy, and tools and strategies, and we don't always consider that when we make our resolutions either. And sometimes they fail because we set New Year's resolutions when we're tired or burned out or still recovering from the holidays. We make them in the darkest month of the year, in cold weather, and on an arbitrary day on the calendar. I know, I've heard and felt resistances to resolutions and reasons for failure before and more, which is why we are sticking with goal setting. The better success rate comes from tools, built-in supports and flexibility, and the fact that you can set goals anytime. We set goals to make progress where we haven't made progress before. Goals are for the things we never seem to get to, or for the tougher things that may take us a while to accomplish, but will still move us forward. Goal setting is not about maintenance or about the things we're already doing, as in, it's not, in quotes, my goal for December 31st, 2026 is to be exactly where I am today, end quotes. Yeah, sorry. But let me say this, setting goals could be about doing things you do every day better or cheaper or easier or with less stress, right? So I love setting goals around the things that have been bugging me for days or for weeks. So for an example of that, a goal this past October, before I had my most recent carcinoma surgery, was to finally clean off the shelves in my garage that I growled at every day when I saw them. I mean, every day. And so with some planning and a lot of recycling and special errands to drop things off once and for all, and a firm deadline, the shelves were clear and still are clear. And now I breathe a sigh of relief when I see them. That's what goal setting can do. A goal can be to do something I regularly do better or quicker so that I can do other things too, right? So like save money or make room in my life for a person or a relationship or a hobby. This week, let's get to how to choose what goals to set. And next week, we will look at 2 tools to make that happen. So let's get started. First things first, grab a calendar or a notebook or your preferred digital item, phone, iPad, laptop, whatever. So first thing we do is we make note of the big things that are already on the calendar for 2026. These are not goals, okay? These are the things that are going to happen anyway, but that will also impact all of the other things that you want to or need to accomplish this year. For example, my youngest son will graduate from college this year. My middle son will graduate from graduate school this year. And I pray those graduations are not on the same day. And as I wrote this, I added, look at academic calendars to my to-do list. My oldest son and his wife, my daughter-in-law, will also make major life changes this year. Now, these are not my goals. They are my family members' goals, but they matter to my time and energy and capacity to take on new responsibilities at those times. I will not set huge, lofty, and time-hungry goals with a deadline, for example, of, one of my son's graduation dates, right? Let's not do that. Both of my parents are having surgery in the first quarter of 2026. Not my goals, but certainly still noteworthy and on my calendar. We will take a trip to the East Coast in August. Not a goal, but still noteworthy. These are awesome and welcome events, and they also need to be considered as I set goals. So we start with those. Number 2, and really this should be like a 1.5, is that we learn from our past experiences. So as we are getting started, we also need to note the times of transitions that have occasionally tripped us up in the past. For example, for me, the shift to the summer schedule in May tends to require extra time and planning and self-acceptance. I don't know why, but it seems to happen that way every year. And so really, I need to pay attention to that, right? And I need to factor that in and plan around that now. We can also, as we get started, look at last year's goals. Are they all complete? And if not, are there still some things you'd like to complete? And if so, make a note and move those ahead. Something we also need to think about as we are choosing our goals is to remember that 2026 is 12 months long. What do I mean by that? For example, one of my 2026 goals is to read at least one nonfiction book every month. Now, the good news is I don't need to know today what my nonfiction book for October is going to be. I don't need to know that to make progress, right? Which is great. I have a long time to figure that out. I do know that my goal is to, read a book every month, and I know what the book is for January. And that is a good enough place for me to start. The point is, not all 2026 goals need to start immediately. You can name a goal and also identify that it's not going to start until the spring or summer or Q4. Next thing to think about is, as you think about goal setting, and if you don't know what goals to set, consider what I recently read about, and that was a word called domains. And I was looking for the proper credit for this reference, and I couldn't find it. So I don't mean to poach the idea, but it was a really good idea. And if you are listening to the podcast and don't jot all of these down that I'm going to say, there's 10, you can always check out the blog article, which is already published, and it's on my website, peaceofmindpo.com. Go to the blog tab. So those domains, as we are considering what goals to set, could be in any of these following 10 areas, right? So the first one is physical health, which is a very common area for goals and certainly resolutions, but we're talking goals. And those are things like sleep, nutrition, exercise, movement, medical care, not just fitness, stress reduction. The next domain is mental and emotional well-being. So that's emotional awareness and regulation, support for your mental health and coping skills, self-compassion, self-care. Another domain is relationships and community. So goals around family and friendships and communication and connection. Another domain is work, career, or contribution. So that could be paid work or vocation or volunteering. It's also learning around those work, career, or contribution. So all of those could be goal setting areas. Another domain is finances or income. And so maybe there's a goal in there around spending or saving or a budget or planning for long term. Another domain is home and environment, and like your physical spaces, but also your digital spaces as well. So maybe that's organization or safety or comfort. Another domain is personal growth and learning. And that is learning new skills or self-reflection, maybe creativity or curiosity. Another domain is your time and energy and life management. So this is like planning and routines and systems. A fun domain is fun, rest, and joy. So making sure that we set goals on our play and our hobbies, our celebrations and things like that. And then the final domain is meaning and values and spiritual life. So if any of those resonate with you, maybe in one of those domains is where you are going to find your goal setting for the next week or month or quarter or year. Another strategy that I personally employ is setting a goal in my focus areas. And if you want to know more about focus areas, I talked about focus areas first in, I want to say, episodes 4 or 5, so way back when. So if you want to learn more, go check those out. My focus areas are service, which is volunteering and ministry, home, personal, and wellness, which kind of go together, and then a number of focus areas under my business. So, for example, if my focus area is service, which is ministry and volunteering, a goal for that could be booking a certain number of paid liturgical gigs in the next 3 months, right? Like that could be a goal. For me, home is a focus area. And one goal that I do have is to finish swapping out my son's bedrooms by March 9th, which is when my youngest son comes home for his college's spring break. And I really like this one. I just want to draw attention to the fact that, yes, it's a goal. Yes, I can set it. And I also don't have to work on it until February, which is kind of a relief. Those are what we can do with our goals, right? Is we can identify them, but also place them elsewhere on the calendar. A personal goal for me is to complete my password manager project. There's no deadline on that one yet. I have a wellness goal. I'd like to establish a daily meditation practice. I have some of the tools in place to do that. No deadline on that one yet, etc. So looking at focus areas, if domains don't resonate with you, looking at your focus areas and setting goals within the focus areas, maybe that's where we're going to find goal setting. And another strategy, really the final strategy that I'll talk about today before we step into tools next week, is to identify a problem that you would like to solve once and for all. Maybe there's a goal there for you. For example, as I wrote this article on a Sunday afternoon, my grocery order arrived. And I cannot express to you how happy that makes me in terms of goal setting. For years, I was frustrated with the whole process. Grocery shopping, all the time it took to plan the trip, inventory what I have on hand, make a menu plan, make a list, go to the store, spend time at the store, load everything into my car at the store, and then load it all into my house and put it all away. I mean, you can tell by my voice, like, ugh, it used to get so frustrating for me. And so when I was goal setting 4 or 5 years ago, I made sure that I met that goal to set up online grocery delivery. I did the work, I set up the accounts in the system, and I reap the benefits every week. So that was one of those: identify a problem and set a goal around solving it permanently. So, my friends, as you rest and recover from a busy December, or as you jump feet first into a new year, whichever state you find yourself in or anything in between, give some thought about what it is you want to accomplish this week and this month and this quarter and this year. Are there tasks and projects that you never seem to get to and you really want to? Is there something tough you need to tackle that will be worth the hard work when it's complete? Is there something you're already doing that you would like to up-level and do better? Or is there a recurring problem or challenge that you would love to solve once and for all? I don't know. I'm asking you, right? So collect them all, and next week we'll look at how to make them happen. So support around getting things done and making things happen is what productivity coaching is all about. If it's time to invest in yourself and explore coaching for organizing and productivity, I would love to hear from you. Drop me a line via email at colleen@peaceofmindpo.com or message me through my social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. Thanks so much, and I will talk to you next week.